What's going on, little Crispies? We are doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be taking you through my 10-man full PPR league. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm going to take you through all the picks. I'm obviously pick number 5. Everybody's names are up top, and then I'll just be dropping it round by round. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, hit the like button. It's free. And if you want to subscribe, it's free. All right, enjoy the video, you guys. All right, boys, surprise. We got Floob now. We're going to be doing this thing with Floob. We're going to be both picking some of our favorite players from each round and our least favorite players from each round. And we'll get right into it.
What's up, boys? Let's get into it.
All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to drop this down. We're going to move this down just for the first round. All right, so we're going to talk about the first round, Floob. I don't know how you felt, but I felt pretty good about my pick. I like my pick a lot. Jamar Chase, absolute stud. How'd you feel about yours?
I loved it. I got CeeDee Lamb at the 3 spot. He usually goes 2. After the way he finished the year last year, I think the last 8 weeks he had over 200 fantasy points.
He did.
Yeah, so very happy with that. I think he's gonna get peppered with targets. He just got a new contract, so.
So do you think you had the best pick in the first round?
Do I think I did value-wise? Probably. I mean, in our draft, this is a home league. Saquon Barkley went at number 8, which is not normal, and Devontae Adams ended up going in the first round.
Dude,
so
that was the worst pick of the first round. We're gonna have to talk about that. Devontae Adams, why are you going in the first round? Honestly, bud, you're playing with Gardner Minshew. We don't expect anything else, but first round, I don't know. Also, how do you feel about McCaffrey?
Well, obviously, I'm a Niners fan. It did hurt me to pick CeeDee Lamb. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I mean, I wanted McCaffrey to fall, but he's just too good. You know, he's too good. So he had to go that early. He has a little calf strain, but everything from camp is saying that he's gonna be ready. So, you know.
Yeah, honestly, I like the way the first 3 picks went. I think that's fair. They could have went Tyreek Hill first. It could have went any of those 3, but those are the top 3 in my opinion. Rounds 4 and 5. How do you feel about Amon-Ra? Do you think that was something that should have been happened there? Do you think it should have happened a little later, or do you think he's the best pick in that position there?
Personally, so it's a 10-man league with 2 running backs and 1 flex. So running backs have a little bit more value. So at 4, I would have taken Brees. I think Brees Hall's absolutely going to get peppered with targets this year. Last year, he missed games, and he was still top 5 running back. Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, it's going to be a high-powered offense.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I have a question for you. Yeah. Where is Brees?
Huh?
Where's Brees?
Brees.
He's not in the first round. We're not going to talk about that yet. But Brees Hall is not in the first round. Okay.
Or Bijan.
Or Bijan. This might be the most home league, eagle-loving fantasy draft I've ever seen in my entire life.
And you know what? This is kind of realistic. I mean, we're obviously really into fantasy football, but we're going to have cousins and friends and uncles who don't really know what they're doing, and they're just picking their guys. So
yeah, which is why I was kind of confused. My dad picked up Puka, Fat Chuck, last year as a waiver pickup. He's now picking him in the first round, pick number 9. Honestly, I think those last 2 picks in our draft here, absolute worst picks I've ever seen in my entire life. That's just personally how I feel about him.
You know what? I respect it though. He went out and got his guy. He got his guy.
He did. He did.
So you know what? And like the Puka Bijan, I mean, you're not mad at that. It's usually flipped. It usually go Bijan in the first and Puka in the second. But yeah, no, not too mad at that. Not too.
So we're giving him a little sneak peek to the second round. We're talking about how we're gonna have Bijan down there in the second round. We got Brees Hall down there in the second round. Let's go see what the second round's looking like, Floob. All right, so we're in the second round. I'm gonna let Floob take it from here.
Yeah, I think for them to fall, to pick 11 and 12. Yeah, that's not normal. This is a very home league draft. And usually in the home leagues though, the running backs are pushed up, but in this one, they were pushed down a little. And also Saquon went before them. So,
well, I loved your analysis there. How do you feel about the Devontae Smith pick at the 2-3 turn?
I can tell he's an Eagles fan. I'll say that. I'll say that much. Um, but no, I mean that's wild. Let's be real. In my other league, 12 team, I got Devontae in the 4th, and I was the 2nd overall pick. So I got him on that little rat back. Yeah, so this is unheard of, and he is on a path to lose this league. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, but you know
what if I told you he
Anything
won
happens.
the league last year?
That's the thing about fantasy football. Nobody knows what the hell they're talking about.
Nobody
here.
knows. We're just chatting here.
Exactly.
My brother doesn't know much about football, but he's an Eagles fan and he knows who Patrick Mahomes is. So Whoop Whoop went and decided with Patrick Mahomes there. Honestly, don't hate it. Don't love it.
I mean,
I'm fine with it. But he took Patrick. Garrett Wilson could have best season of his life, or it could be same old Aaron Rodgers breaking his leg week 1. How do you feel about Jahmyr Gibbs over ETN? That was a tough decision for me to make there. I didn't know who to go there, honestly.
I'm really high on Jahmyr. Am a little worried about the injury in camp.
The hamstring.
Hamstrings linger.
Oh shit, dude.
Justin Jefferson last year, you thought he was out
Hamstring.
for 3 weeks. It was 8 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they linger. So, but I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is so explosive. One of my favorite players, young stud. Yeah.
So him over ETN, or how do you feel about the running backs that went after Gibbs? Like, do you feel how do you feel about that?
So ETN is interesting for me. I like him as a player. If Trevor Lawrence can make that next jump that people are expecting this year, ETN is going to repeat and be what he was the top 5 running back.
Yeah, top 5, 100%.
Yeah, and he has the ability to be running back 1 if they can actually put it together, and if Trevor Lawrence can make that next jump.
He runs with heart, dude. He absolutely runs with heart. And let's talk about it. Marvin Harrison, dude. What a pick, dude. What an absolute steal, dude. I was looking at him too. I was looking at those 3 players when I was picking right there. I was like, dude, do I want Harrison, Gibbs, or ETN? I did go with Gibbs, kind of a different option. But how do you feel about your Marvin Harrison pick there?
No, you made my life easy. I would have probably taken Gibbs right there, to be honest, if he fell. But Marvin Harrison, he's an interesting one. So he's going really high in drafts. Basically, he has to have the same type of year that Puka had, which was the best rookie season of all time. Yeah. And Puka still finishes the wide receiver 9. Marvin Harrison's being drafted as a wide receiver 9. So basically, I'm betting on him to have around 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns, which is a lot.
A lot in fantasy, especially.
But he's the best wide receiver prospect in over 20 years. So
the guy's an absolute stud. And what do we know about Kyler Murray? He loves throwing to his studs. When he's got his guy, he's throwing him 10 to 15 targets a game even. The guy's an absolute animal. We'll see how it goes. How do you feel about Derrick Henry on the Baltimore Ravens?
Interesting one. He's old. There's a fall off. But he's Derrick Henry.
It's King Henry at the end of the day.
Yeah. I could see him getting 14 touchdowns. They're not going to run Lamar on the goal line, so.
No, you got to take care of Lamar now. He's getting old. He's not as young as he used to be either. Exactly. And then Jonathan Taylor, hate the guy. Had him last year. Don't even want to talk about him. Don't appreciate anything he does. Fuck Jonathan Taylor.
Agreed. If Anthony Richardson, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if Anthony Richardson takes that step that I think he can,
I'm him.
Jonathan Taylor is going to have some fun in that offense.
Oh, but the guy's a good running back. Just what he did to me last year, I don't appreciate it. Same with Cooper Kupp and Austin Eckler. They all screwed me last year. I had all 3 on my same fantasy team, and they absolutely screwed me. All right, round 2 done. We're going to head over to round 3. All right, round 3, Mr. Floob. Honestly, right here, Drake London on the 3-1 turn. I love it here. He's got Kurt Cuzzo. The guy's been having bots throwing the ball. He's got Desmond Ridder throwing him the ball. Taylor Heineke throwing him the ball. Give this guy a quarterback. Let's see what he could do. Honestly, in round 3, I would have taken Drake London there. And then how do you feel about the next 2 running backs there?
So, yeah, Kyron, I would have taken him. I obviously got Achane. Kyron he's going to get the ball. Like, he's going to get 20 touches a game. They did draft Blake Corum, which makes me not nervous, but, he's a little safety blanket just in case. Kyron did get injured last year and still finishes a top 5 running back.
Yep.
He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his catches. Achane was actually on my do not draft list. he ended up falling to me though in that third round, and I needed a running back. Um, I, I'm skeptical because his efficiency was so crazy that I think it's going to regress a little bit. He's not going to be 7 yards a carry, but I think they're going to give him 3 or 4 more touches a game, which can make up for that lower efficiency. So I'm just kind of convincing myself at this point that I like it, but I'm just going to roll with it.
Honestly, the Achane pick, honestly, it could be one of the best, but it could be one of the worst. You really don't know. It's a third round pick. It's got full blown first round potential. You have no idea. Travis Kelce, first round potential. The guy's an absolute stud. Tight end position, probably gonna be tight end 1. He's playing with Patrick Mahomes, going for their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. Don't hate the pick there. Josh Jacobs, honestly, for myself, I felt a little bit weird about this pick. I was deciding between him and Pacheco, but Jordan Love just got paid. That offense could be firing on all fucking cylinders. And Josh Jacobs is a workhorse running back. So you don't know what Josh Jacobs could be doing there. Honestly, I like that pick. How do you feel about Laporta and Pacheco there?
Really quick on Josh Jacobs. Yeah, AJ Dillon just got hurt, and he's in a way better offense.
Yeah,
I didn't
100%.
love this pick earlier, but after thinking about it for a while, he's slowly moving up my draft board for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think him being on a better offense, because if you think about how he played with Derek Carr on the Raiders, he actually was a better running back than he was when who was his quarterback? What was the guy's name? Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever the hell else was there. It was just like, I don't know. I think he's on a better offense now. He's got Jordan Love. It's the Green Bay Packers. They know how to run an offense. Let's see what he can do. But yeah, go on with Laporta and Pacheco there.
Laporta pick, don't hate it. He fell. He usually goes earlier in drafts. There's only one tight end position in our league, so tight ends are worth a little bit more. Always try to leave with the top 5, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I mean, don't hate it. I would have taken Pacheco right there because he did not have any running backs. I think Pacheco, I mean, he's tied to possibly the second greatest player of all time, maybe the first when it's all said and done. Yeah, and that offense is going to be lethal. I mean, they got weapons everywhere, and Pacheco is going to be the one that's scoring the goal line touchdowns.
Well, I just learned something very interesting about Pacheco. Jerick McKinnon is now gone, and Pacheco scores a lot more fantasy points when McKinnon's not there. And guess what? They didn't bring anybody in. They brought in some rugby guy, and then they cut him. So they got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they got Pacheco there. Pacheco's going to be an absolute dog, I think, personally. And I'm kind of sad I didn't pick him. But I don't know. I'm not a big Chiefs guy. I don't like talking about the Chiefs. I hate the Chiefs. They beat my Eagles. Fuck the Chiefs. I think you feel the same way. I don't know.
I do. Yeah, trust me, I do.
Yeah. But this is a 49ers guy. Let's hear what you got to say about Deebo Samuel here.
Interesting pick here. We all know Deebo is one of the best, I don't want to say gadget guys, but just, offensive players overall in the
100%.
league. I think actually Brandon Ayuk getting signed helps him. It opens up the field for more, those screen passes to Deebo. Brandon Ayuk's more of a over the middle kind of guy.
Yep.
I don't hate the pick, but I also don't love it. Right there, I would have taken Nico Collins. And I know you feel a little differently about Nico, but
I don't know. Okay, my thing with Nico Collins here, there's a lot of heads to feed over there. You're bringing in Stephon Diggs. Let me say that again. Stephon Diggs. The guy's a stud. He wants the ball. Yeah, he might not be getting it from CJ Stroud, but you don't know what that connection could be in week 3 or week 4. He could be developing with Stephon more than he was with Nico Collins. You really don't know how that whole situation. I think Nico Collins is 6'4". He can get open. I still think he's a dog, but you got other guys there that are good, really good, who could take Nico Collins' spot. You really don't know. Tank Dell's still there. You got Joe Mixon now. But CJ Stroud could have an MVP year, and he loves throwing the rock. I don't know. Nico Collins for me is kind of just like a weird pick. I think Deebo, Nico, and Achane all kind of like fit in the same category for me, where they could have really good upside, but they could also get me screwed over, wasting a crucial pick on somebody that anything could happen. That's my personal opinion. That's how I feel about Nico Collins and Deebo and those kind of guys.
No, so I'll just say something really quick. A point you just made, the MVP year. So basically, I'm betting on CJ Stroud having an MVP year if I draft Nico.
He could.
And I think he could throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. And what is that? So that's 4,000, yard wide receivers. And, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
The guy could have a complete MVP year. And if people feel that confident about it and they're willing to draft Nico, take your money down to the sports books, dude. Take $1,000, throw it on CJ Stroud MVP. If you really think he's going to be that guy, go ahead. But I don't know.
Maybe.
That's my personal opinion. I think anything could happen. Josh Allen, second quarterback off the board. How do you feel about him going after Mahomes? I thought that was a little bit weird with Josh Allen having the most fantasy points last year.
Yeah, so Josh Allen's interesting as well. Once they switched over to the offensive coordinator Joe Brady and they were running it a lot more, Josh Allen actually didn't finish the year that well. I think he had 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I mean, obviously some rushing touchdowns. But I mean, I think he's going to be capped. He lost Stephon Diggs. He's still going to be good, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the quarterback 3, 4, 5 this year.
Yeah, honestly, Josh Allen. Let's see what you can do, bud. We got rid of your best weapon. You got Kincaid. You got Frank Gore Jr. You got James Cook. Let's see what you could do. Let's see if you could bring down those interceptions for multiple years. But yeah, that's the third round. Let's head over to the fourth round, Floob. All right, guys, we're hopping into round 4 here. We got Floob. Let's hear it, Floob.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, interesting pick. Obviously MVP, but his fantasy production's interesting. He doesn't run it near the goal line. They always hand it off. They have Derrick Henry now, less rushing touchdowns. The thing you're betting on for Lamar is just he's going to have another MVP caliber year and hopefully actually run some touchdowns in. But I don't see it going that way.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Had him last year. Wasn't a big fan.
Yeah. Chris Olave, weird pick. He fell super far in this draft, but I think that was just kind of like you have to take him there. But I don't love it. I don't think the Saints are good. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is another year older. Derek Carr's, and the thing is, they pass for a lot of yards, and they're going to be behind in a lot of games, maybe. So we'll see what happens. They could just pepper Olave with targets again. So we'll see. For me, also Kittle went a little high here. I understand. I love Kittle too, but that's wild. 4th round is crazy.
Yeah, and he went double eagle, double niner there. Little interesting tactic from M Moreno 1108.
Don't hate it. I mean, you're betting on 2 really good offenses, but Kittle right there is a little crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, I'm just betting on Nico Collins to be that guy, really. Stephon Diggs, he's another year older. People forget he's like 30 years old. So he's on the last part of his career for sure. I'm just kind of betting on him to take that back seat to Nico Collins, and I think CJ Stroud and Nico Collins already built that rapport. So, yeah, I'm expecting big things out of Nico and not as much out of Stephon Diggs. What do you think?
Honestly, why did they go out and get Diggs? Why did they go out and pay the guy? They got to be throwing him the rock. The whole Houston thing, me personally, I got to see the way it works out. As it looks on paper, it's probably Nico Collins, but you really never know until that first game's played. I've played fantasy where I'm like, all right, my running back's going to be the starter. And then for some reason, 2 plays, he's out of the game, and I got Billy Bob Joe coming in and running in the touchdown. You really don't know until fantasy starts. Honestly, Houston Texans, personally, I'm a little iffy on the whole situation. Let's talk about Rachaad White. Absolute stud. I think he absolutely killed it last year in fantasy points. Can he do it again, though? Is he boom or bust? Was he just booming last year, or is he going to bust? I don't know. How do you feel about that one?
So he's interesting for me. He got a ton of work last year, not efficient at all. The thing is, they brought in Bucky Irving, the running back from Oregon. They drafted him second or third round.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so to me, I think Rashad's going to be good, but he's not going to get the same amount of work. If he can bring up that efficiency a little bit, he'll be good. But I'm not convinced he's a great running back. He does get a lot of targets, though. So it is full point PPR.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see how he's developed. And let's go into Jalen Hurts, Crispy G-Man here. That's my guy. Jalen Hurts, let's get the tush push. Just because Kelsey's gone doesn't mean he's not going to be scoring on that tush push, baby. Let's go. Jalen Hurts, don't even have to speak on that one.
Yeah, really quick, I'll just add, I think he's my quarterback 1, I think.
Dude,
I mean,
he's Jalen Hurts.
Push, yeah, I mean, he's going to get 10 rushing touchdowns at least.
And it's same with Lamar and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Who's running? Is it Saquon Barkley or is it Jalen Hurts? You really don't know. And guess what? He's got weapons. He's got AJ Brown. He's got Devontae Smith. He's got Jahan Dotson. He's got Dallas Goddard. The guy is gonna be a dog. So let's see if he can put it up. He's got a new offensive coordinator. He's got Kellen Moore, the guy who's been the offensive coordinator for Dallas and Chargers, who have been putting up tons of points the last couple of years. Brand new offensive coordinator. Let's see if he can do something. And Jalen Waddle. Honestly, love this pick here. Jalen Waddle. You're playing behind Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's getting old. Tyreek Hill could get injured. And Jalen Waddle's a freaking dog. The guy still gets tons of targets. He's fast as hell. I love the pick. Honestly, that's how I feel. How do you feel about Waddle there?
I absolutely love the pick. Yeah, I love the pick. I would have drafted Waddle right there.
Yeah.
He, I mean, I think he had a really good year 2 years ago. And then last year, slightly down. He was injured for a little. I think he's going to have that massive bounce back year where it's just, it's like him and Tyreek are 1A, 1B, So we'll see what happens. DJ Moore for my next pick. I know some people think maybe this isn't the best pick at this point, but I'm betting on Caleb Williams, man. I mean, I think he's an absolute stud. He's one of the best prospects we've seen in a while.
He's a stud. He's throwing balls like Patrick. He could be that guy, but we don't know. We really don't know.
You see that preseason throw to Rome in the back of the end zone, that rollout. Oh, it was just it got me fired up.
Who did he pass it to?
Yeah.
Rome. He passed it to Rome. Oh, not DJ Moore. Okay.
Preseason, bro.
I'm just wondering. All right. Brandon Ayuk. I think that guy's an absolute stud. He just got his contract. Do you think he's a good pick at that 4-9 spot there, Flube?
Definitely. He fell way too far in this, but I'm kind of betting on DJ Moore over Brandon Ayuk, and from a Niners fan, that's saying a lot. So when we drafted, he didn't have his contract when we drafted. I was not very optimistic. I'm happy they got it done. If I knew, I probably would have picked him right there. But absolute stud, crazy efficiency, tied to the best offense in the league.
Yep.
You can go on and on. So.
And Mike Evans, honestly, he's probably getting 1,000 yards. Let's be honest here. The guy's a stud. He's been doing it year after year. Sometimes he's boom, sometimes he's bust. That's just Mike Evans, but at the end of the day, he's getting over 1,000 yards this season. Honestly, fourth round, it was a good round. Who did you not like in the fourth round? Whose pick? Who are you like? That was just awful.
Stephon Diggs, man. Stephon Diggs.
I think Stephon Diggs is a bad one. I personally believe as well. Whoop does not play fantasy. He's never played, and I think that was the only player he knew whose name he could have went.
Yeah, really quick. I'll just touch on Mike Evans. I don't hate that pick. I'm a little scared of him. He is a year older now, and like you said, he's inconsistent. He's gonna have those games that are 160 yards and 2 touchdowns and win you the game. He's gonna have, but he's also gonna have the games that are
one
catches.
Catch. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
4 targets, 1 catch, 3 yards, and he's on the bike at halftime. It's like I've had Mike Evans before. I've seen it before. He's an older guy. What else can you expect? But honestly, fourth round went well. I kind of liked most people's picks. I think it was a good round. I don't know about this Flube guy. He's got 3 wide receivers by the 4th round. So let's see what his next pick here is in the 5th round. Let's get to the 5th. All right, boys. This is the 5th and final round. If you want to see a part 2, we need at least 10 likes on the video. I'm not asking for much here. 10 likes and I'll get you a part 2, show you the rest of the draft. But Flube, let's get started with the 5th round here.
Yeah, Trey McBride right here. I actually really wanted Trey McBride here. That definitely would have been my pick. From what we on him and Kyler last year, when Kyler was healthy, he is a lock top 5 tight end.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just a guy that you can just put in your lineup and never, ever have to think about it. So I wanted that really bad. Yeah.
I think he's a younger guy. And like we've stated in the past, Kyler Murray likes throwing to his guys. He doesn't like distributing the ball to other guys. He likes to get the ball to his number 1 guy, his reliable guy. And I think Trey McBride could be that guy for him. How do you feel about Cooper Kupp here?
Love Cooper Kupp here as well. He would have been my pick also. These are 2 really solid picks that, fell a little bit. Trey McBride does get drafted around there. And Cooper Kupp has been slowly moving up boards, especially full point PPR. Definitely would have been my pick. I think he's going to have a big year. I mean, when him and Puka were on the field together, they were pretty much getting even
Yep.
targets, even,
E-
so we'll
e-
see.
Everything was about even for them, and that's what's interesting to me. Is Puka's going in the first round, but we got Cooper Cup down here in the fifth round, and they're getting the same targets per game. And
Yeah.
Cooper Cup's now recovered from that injury he had before the season last year, because he did have an injury that haunted him all year. He's now
Mhm.
probably hopefully healed from that injury, and you never know what could happen. How do you feel about Michael Pittman? Your pick there at the third, eh?
I think Michael Pittman is going to have a huge year, to be honest. I think Anthony Richardson has the potential to take that quarterback one leap. And Michael Pittman's the main guy there. So, high powered offense. Um, Anthony Richardson loves to air it out, and Michael Pittman's going to be that guy. Contested catches, super big games. I think he's going to get enough volume. So, yeah, pretty hyped on it.
Honestly, Michael Pittman, I love the guy. He's an absolute stud. He knows how to take a hit. The guy's got hands. What else can you say? And he's got Anthony Richardson back. Let's see what he could do. He's not working with much competition there either. So let's see what he could do. Let's talk about CJ Stroud here. I think this is a little bit of an interesting pick. I've never seen CJ Stroud run further than 20 yards, if I'm not mistaken. The guy doesn't run. You need a quarterback who's running in for touchdowns. This is fantasy football. This isn't real life football. If this was real life football, I would be picking CJ Stroud as well. But he's not running in touchdowns like your other guys you could have been picking here. You could have been picking Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson. Like you've said, these are guys who have that running upside who could be a good fantasy football quarterback for you. Yes, I think CJ Stroud can throw 40 touchdowns this year, but we never know. We actually never know what he can actually do, but that running upside isn't there. How do you feel about CJ Stroud there?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, his upside is not as high as these running quarterbacks, but he could have an MVP year,
Mm-hmm.
and he could throw for 40 touchdowns and
Mm-hmm.
4,500 yards and
Yep.
put up those crazy numbers. It's just, yeah, he's not going to be getting you the rushing touchdowns, but he's kind of looking like, I mean, dude, if he makes another jump, man, like he's looking like a Peyton Manning, like
Oh,
a
no.
future Hall of
This
Famer.
guy's
Like it's,
cracked. I watched him
I
last year, and I've never been more amazed by a first year quarterback. All the years of
insane.
it, the guy was insane. I'm next going to talk about my Malik Neighbors here at the fifth pick. Honestly, as my wide receiver too, I thought this was a risky pick. I will say that. But the guy, I watched him play, and I feel like I was watching Jamar Chase out there. The guy's built. He knows how to run a fucking route if I've ever seen somebody run a route. But the guy's an absolute stud. I love Malik Neighbors here, but he's got Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. So we don't know. We don't know how that connection can go. But from what I've seen, I think he's a stud. What do you think, Flube?
Yeah, I think he's an absolute stud as well. I'm just super worried about the quarterback situation. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
Daniel
we I think we
Jones,
all are.
I think Drew Lock's going to end up coming in, and I think he's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, which I think would be good for Malik Neighbors, but he's the only weapon they have. So, I mean, he's going to be getting hopefully 12 to 14 targets a game, and they're going to be behind in all these games.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to throw it.
And,
So,
and that was something I really liked with my pick there, getting a good solid wide receiver two with wide receiver one upside. There is that chance that Malik Neighbors could swoop in there and be a number one guy, especially in fantasy football. And then I'm going to talk about Kamara. I think the guy's a stud. I think he has that catching ability like he's always had. He's got Derek Carr throwing him dumpy passes. It's who Kamara is. He's a fifth round pick. I don't love it. I don't hate it. He's just Kamara going in the fifth round, in my personal opinion. James Cook, kind of feel the same way. Not the best, not the worst. He's playing with Josh Allen, kind of that same situation. David Montgomery, this is just a weird situation for me. I feel like this is kind of like the Gibbs and Montgomery are kind of like Puka and Cooper Cup in the aspect that one's dropping below, but has the potential to be in competition with Jameer. In the aspect that David Montgomery does get those goal line touches, was playing well. He was getting yards per carry. He wasn't trash. Like he's not like AJ Dillon who runs 2 yards and doesn't do anything but takes touches all the time. David Montgomery puts up points. How do you feel about David Montgomery there?
yeah, I'm just gonna hit on all three real quick. Alvin Kamara, exactly what you said. You're just gonna get a bunch of dump offs. He's gonna be a PPR machine. Don't love it, don't hate it. He's another year older, a little scary. James Cook, they brought in the rookie Ray Davis, who's a bigger guy. He's gonna kind of play the Latavius Murray role. He's gonna be poaching those touchdowns, and they still have Josh Allen. So around the goal line, James Cook's getting nothing, but he was very featured last year between the 20s. So he'll be okay, I think. And yeah, David Montgomery, it's yeah, I think you hit it on the head as well. It's another one of those things where he's gonna get, he's gonna get all the touchdowns, and Jameer Gibbs is gonna work within the 20s. I mean, I think Jameer Gibbs has that ceiling though to really take over this
He,
backfield if
he
he's
could,
healthy.
but
Yeah,
David Montgomery, I feel like, is a guy who could give Jameer Gibbs competition. It's not an AJ
definitely.
Dillon. It's not
No,
somebody. It's not a no name. This is David Montgomery. This guy
he's
killed it
good.
last year. He scored tons of touchdowns. They were both killing it. So you really don't know who could take over the backfield. Jameer Gibbs has got his injury. They could want David. You really don't know. Honestly, the pick, a little iffy on it. How do you feel about those last two tight ends there, Flube?
Yeah, David Njoku going over Dalton Kincaid is absolutely wild.
Fat Chuck is my father. Doesn't really know much about football. He always says that he just goes with what his brain thinks. That's why he's picking Puka Nakua in round 1. Yeah, I'm just gonna let you continue on this one, Flube.
yeah. But I mean, David Njoku's a good tight end. It's just he went 2 rounds too early. But I think Dalton Kincaid, they don't have a number one wide receiver anymore. They obviously have like the Shakirs, and they brought in Curtis Samuel, and that Keon Coleman they drafted. Dalton Kincaid's the only one that's really been constant there. So I think he's gonna get so many targets. I love that pick.
Yep.
I was somehow hoping to get him 10 picks later, but I knew that wasn't gonna happen. So yeah, love that pick.
Honestly, I wish Fat Chuck picked him there and got a little Josh Allen Kincaid stack. But
Yep.
Fat Chuck, being my dad, he talks a lot of shit in fantasy football, and he loves talking shit to me. So I'm glad his team's looking like shit. But if you guys want to see part 2 of the fantasy football, please let me know. Say bye to Flube, first time on the channel. You guys have a good one. Peace, boys.